and then we will visit the ancient city of Aphrodisias. I've been talking about it. Do you remember Aphrodisias? Who is the main goddess over there? Who is the main deity?
Aphrodite.
Aphrodite, yes. Okay then. So we are going to see that together. You know, we will have ample time over there. We will do the whole city together. There are lots of inscriptions in the city. Aphrodisians love to write. We have tons of graffiti. Thousands of graffiti. Each building is like a book. You can read them like a book. And the Turkish archaeologist Kenan Erim, who began the excavations in 1961, he was also from New York University. And what I love the most is, as an archaeologist, he died because of a heart attack, you know, while he was in a reception, I think in the British consulate in Istanbul. And then he was, the president of the time gave the special permission, so he was buried on the site. His grave is in Aphrodisias. What a great honor for an archaeologist who dedicated his own life, his entire life to the site. He has excavated the site for more than 30 years. What a great honor. So we are also going to see his grave. And you walk along the famous Tetrapylon street, and it leads you directly to the Tetrapylon, the grand gate, to the temple of Aphrodite. And see the temple of Aphrodite further back.
Wow.
Game boards, you know, games and different kinds of things have been chiseled, because what happened was when the when the people came here to visit the temple of Aphrodite or to make a sacrifice, you know, they didn't let them enter right away. Sometimes they had to wait by the entrance gate, and as they waited, they chiseled out game boards, things like that, just to occupy them, just to spend some time before they were accepted in the sanctuary of Aphrodite. For example, reservations. For example, some seats are reserved for some wealthy women. You will see game boards. You will see, you know, funny things that they just chiseled. You know, it's unbelievable. And of course, they also added an apse. At that time, you were not supposed to enter a temple. The temple was simply the house of gods and goddesses. In the center, there was a big cult statue of the god or the goddess that the temple was dedicated to. They took the walls of the interior and then they put them up again just outside the colonnade. There were altars over here, so people would make sacrifices on the altars. Or they would dedicate their best produce, their best crops, you know, the best part of the meat, you know, and then they all took place over here in front of the temple. The palace of the bishop.
The palace of the bishop.
The local religious leader.
Bishop's palace and the workshops.
Three spectator buildings. Archaeologists call these buildings spectator buildings. The first one was the stadium, this is the Boulevarium, the council house, and there is the theater. I'm just waiting. And of course, people did not go to a Roman bath just for hygiene. It's the same with the Turkish bath, the Ottoman bath. It was where you would meet important people. That was where you would catch up with the latest news, hear about the latest gossips. And it was also a social leveler. Just imagine a 65-year-old Roman oligarch or plutarch, you know, was there naked. With a poor 20-year-old. There was a kind of a hierarchy because the rich came with their slaves. So the excavations are going on since 1961, and the excavations are a joint project of Oxford and New York universities. So it was in late 1950s. There is a Turkish-Armenian photographer, maybe you have heard about him. His name is Ara Güler. He was given a mission by his boss. He was working for a newspaper, and he came here, you know, because there was an opening of a dam. Huge dam, and you know, they wanted him to write something about the opening of the dam, and he came here, and on their way back after the opening of the dam, he and his friend, they got lost. It was late at night, so they saw some light here on this region, you know, and then they followed the light and they came over here. You know, there was the village of Geyre here on the site of Aphrodisias. Okay, it was not excavated yet back in late 1950s. So Ara Güler says that when he woke up in the morning, it was like magic, because everywhere there were these houses of the villagers, but you know, many of them were built of these ancient building materials. You know, villagers were playing backgammon on ancient capitals. People were sitting, you know, here and there were the seats of the theater. People were sitting on them, villagers were sitting on them, just chatting with one another. And he took wonderful photographs. I will leave the museum. There is a small museum of local findings from Aphrodisias, but when I say small, it's a world-class museum. The things which are on display over there are, you know, if they were in British Museum, they will have a whole salon dedicated to them, you know, so it's that rich, okay? And I also like this a lot, you know, it's so nice to exhibit, display these findings on the site, because when we take them from the original site and when we take them and when we display them in another museum in Turkey or in a foreign country, if they are stolen, we just take these things from their context, you know. They belong there, they belong to site, so it's really very important. It's one of the biggest excavations in the country. It's a joint project of New York and Oxford University.